Today's topic is due to the attack that took place at the state capitol building on the 6th of January. What happened at the state capitol building on January 6, 2021? On January 6, 2021, there was a riot and violent attack carried out by a mob of supporters of the United States President Donald Trump in an attempt to overturn his defeat in the 2020 presidential election at the state capitol building.
And when you have violent mobs storming the floor of the House of Representatives and the floor of the United States
Why
Senate,
did these people do this? Since December, Trump repeatedly encouraged his supporters on Twitter to show up for a big protest in Washington, D.C. on January 6th, the day that Congress accepted the Electoral College votes. On January 6th, he gave a speech, and before the riot, Trump praised supporters for showing up to save our democracy. After repeatedly claiming that the election was stolen, he told supporters, "We are going to walk down to the Capitol. You have to show strength and you have to be strong." This is why these people took action of how upsetting they were and Donald Trump encouraging words. How did they plan it? How was it executed? As we may know, Trump was one of the main influences. All of its organizations were made through social media, websites, and online forums. Some group organizations were called Stop the Steal, the Donald Message Board, and the Red State Sessions. Now, some of the websites were wildprotest.com and the Donald. After one of the website was taken down, the wildprotest.com is where things got more spiced up. People all over social media made comments of planning. One current pro-Trump military supporter said, "Ready to die for my country once again." They even made posters discussing how many Capitol policemen were going to be attending on that day, and floor plans were posted alongside directives. Now, the way that this was executed is that the certification of Electoral College was paused. Trump supporters broke in so violently, pushing, hitting, and clashing policemen. There were a few killed, many injured, and arrests.
Recognizing that this is happening,
who were the people
because
responsible
Donald Trump
for making
told
this
his
attack happen?
supporters to go there.
As I said before, Trump was one of the main reasons why these people came up with the idea for the attack. But we have one of the top organizers of Stop the Steal, named Ali Alexander, who is known for being responsible for making the attack happen. Alexander had not only called for a march on the Capitol, but he hinted that it could get violent. In the Stop the Steal group, he said, "We came up with the idea to occupy just outside the Capitol building on January 6th. And we found out that in an online video before the rally, he said, "I was the person who came up with the January 6th idea, along with 3 members of Congress." After being caught, he sent another text message saying, "I fight for civil rights. I believe this election was stolen. I petitioned my government. I'm being punished for organizing millions of people." Another person that has been identified is Jake Angeli. He was pictured in November making a speech about unproven claims that the election was fraudulent. His personal Facebook page is filled with images and memes relating to all sorts of extreme ideas and conspiracy theories. Also, another group spotted at the storming of the Capitol were members of group Proud Boys. Where were these rioters from? We have been told that these rioters come from Arizona, Arkansas, and simply from all over the United States. When did the planning for this attack begin? Supporters of Donald Trump who stormed the Capitol building had planned the attack for weeks. There were users who engaged in conversations about breaking in and the actions they were going to take if any officers intend stopping them from storming Congress. Why was there so little security? Well, apparently, city officials and federal law enforcement agencies requested only modest support from the National Guard and did not anticipate large-scale violence. The Pyongyang agreed to provide 300 unarmed troops. What have been the causes and effects of this attack so far? Some causes are due to the results of the 2020 presidential election. Also, Donald Trump making tweets that the election was stolen and the organizations of the planning of the attack. Now, some effects are the assaulting officers, illegal guns, and unlawful entry violent protesters. Also, the Chief of the United States Capitol Police will resign January 16 due to failing to protect the Capitol from a violent incursion by extremists loyal to President Trump. The last effect that I will be mentioning is how Michelle Obama, the former First Lady, criticized on the attack, between how the police responded to the violent mob of Trump supporters and how more forceful actions were taken by officers in response to the large peaceful Black Lives Matter protest. What could have been done to prevent this, and how can the U.S. prevent this from happening again? In my opinion, what could have been done to prevent this is that they shouldn't have ignored the comments that were made in social media. They should have been alert. Also, I believe that in order to prevent this from happening again, security should always be prepared because they can never predict what will happen next. The security should have more communication so if anything occurs, they can turn an alert and more security can come. This concludes on the attack on the Capitol building that occurred on January 6, 2021.